Hey, folks, welcome back to Tommy Highway TV, home of the Common Sense Network. I, as always, am your host, Tommy Highway. Just kind of doing a little bit of a late night broadcast tonight, see if anybody's around, that sort of thing. To get people's thoughts basically on the speech that President Biden gave us today, and thoughts on exactly who he blamed, why he blamed them, things of that nature. I might have a guest coming by in a few minutes, not sure. But anyway, I'm just going to kind of hang out here and see if I can get your thoughts. What I'm thinking at this point, and this is basically 24 hours after the fall of Kabul for all intents and purposes, and then after Biden gave that speech today, I came away from that thinking that the first thing he did was he tried to blame Donald Trump for this disaster, all right? And the way he did that, he pointed out that Donald Trump had made a conditional deal, which is conditional deal with the Taliban that was supposed to come to basically fruition on May 1st. In other words, we were supposed to have the majority of our combat forces out of there. We could have kept contractors in, things like that, and that was the plan. Basically, we were going to hire a police force to babysit Afghanistan. Anyway, Donald Trump did not get reelected. May 1st came and went. Now, what's so weird about this is that Biden keeps wanting to go back and refer to this deal that Trump made. And I'm thinking to myself, listen now, of all of the deals that Trump had made, went into office, and as soon as Biden got in there, he actually canceled every single deal that he could possibly cancel. Hang on, folks. Just give me one moment here. I've got guests coming in. Please bear with me. Please bear with me there, folks. Copy. Folks, I have got a gentleman coming in, dear friend of mine, very, very good friend of mine. He and I do some work together on another channel. In fact, he's my best friend. I think he's going to come in and join us here this evening, and we're going to talk this out because this is after the speech. Like I say, I mean, I came away from that thinking that Biden was blaming everybody, everything, and everyone else but himself. He reminded me of a girlfriend I used to have, and that's just the bottom line. He's the one that actually that made the call on this. It wasn't Donald Trump's deal. So of all the deals that Biden went in there and canceled that Donald Trump had made, even some that he actually had to consult with congressional scholars about to see if he could even cancel these deals. But this is the one deal that he wants to go ahead and abide by? I don't think so. I don't think anybody's going for that. That's ridiculous horseshit. You coming in there, bud? Yeah. But anyway, that's what he would have led us to believe today. That's the first part of the speech. Okay, then he goes on to blame the Afghans themselves for this debacle because they basically just let them walk right in. Yeah, that's true. I'll give him that one. That is absolutely true. That's exactly what the Afghans did. That being said, when we left, we had no plan. We clearly had no exit strategy whatsoever. We had nothing. I mean, we left the Taliban an amazing, massive, modern military arsenal, folks. Okay, we did that. We left that equipment right there for the Taliban to pick up. Now not only are they back in power, but they're better armed than they ever were before, by many times, I should think. I mean, they've got the Humvees, they've got light armor, they say the Afghans have an air force. Well, guess what? Now the Taliban does. Okay, the Afghans don't have shit anymore. The Taliban has it. I thought it was interesting that Jake Tapper on CNN. I watched a video and he was interviewing one of Biden's spokespeople, one of his stooges, and even Jake Tapper's not going for it. I mean, he just kept. I mean, he really got this guy. I couldn't believe it. I mean, he really let him have it and just said, listen. How can we see this as anything but an utter failure? And Biden, Biden made the decision here. This is a Biden problem. This is not a Trump problem. And when Jake Tapper says it, I mean, that's pretty severe. My goodness. But that being said, it's the media. Now I've been okay. Let me take a step back. I went out and I looked at some of the forums out there on different news media, like different websites, CNN and Fox and what have you. And you've still got die-hard Democrats out there defending Joe Biden. Absolute die-hard. It's like we were talking about, I think it was last night, that those type of people that are absolutely going to support the Democrats no matter what they do. I mean, they could be convicted of the most horrendous crimes in the world, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, the only reason that, let's be honest, the only reason that they let Cuomo have it, the only reason that even happened is because that inspector, that IG or whatever, she in the state, she wants his job. That's the reason. All right, folks, I've got Tim here. What's up, my brother?
Not a whole lot. What are we talking about? We're talking about the speech.
Yep.
Okay.
Your thoughts?
Well, that was completely disrespectful, the speech. Yeah. I mean, come on. Blaming the Afghan people. Right.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna give it some of that to them. I have to, because the fact of the matter is they do have the finest. We did give them the finest training, the finest hardware, and everything else, and they laid the shit down and they didn't jump up and kill anybody. I mean, it was just like a bloodless takeover from the Taliban.
That is true.
Okay, I mean, I got to give it to them. It's like remember the was it Full Metal Jacket movie, Arvin Rifles? Got some Arvin rifles. They had never been fired and only dropped once. Well, that's exactly what the Taliban just inherited. A bunch of rifles that have never been fired and only dropped once. No joke.
Exactly. And a lot of the equipment was actually not working. So hopefully the Taliban can operate this stuff because they haven't been trained on it.
Well, it doesn't matter. Let's say if the I don't know what we sold the Afghan government. I honestly don't know how far we've gone as far as arms transfer is concerned. But just for argument's sake, let's assume that we sold them some Apache helicopters or gave them some Apache helicopters for some reason. Okay, yeah. Some of our highest tech shit in the field. All right, and now guess who's got it? The Taliban has it. So what are they going to do? They're going to turn around and sell it to the Russians or somebody that wants to take a good look at it. That's what's going to happen to that stuff. That's why.
Or they're going to use it to kill a lot of people first.
Well, I mean, it takes a lot to fly an Apache helicopter. That's a lot of training and stuff, but it's worth more to them in money because they don't have oil and stuff, and the mining that they need to do in Afghanistan, the dirt farmers can't do that kind of mining. We're talking about deep core mining and stuff like that. I mean, they have minerals, but it's down there pretty deep.
Right.
But what was I going to say? Lost my train of thought. Anyway, we left these guys. I know what I was going to say now. You know how we were talking last night about the fact that that they're going to go ahead and kick in Sharia law again, and what's going to happen to the women. We're hearing reports today. Even Jake Tapper on CNN was talking about the fact that they're already marrying young girls off to the fighters and all of that. I mean, this is just an unmitigated disaster. I mean, any feminist out there, if you're watching the broadcast and you actually voted for Joe Biden, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about the fact that, you know, it's because Joe Biden completely dropped the ball, and even the mainstream media agrees with that, shockingly, okay? How do you feel about the fact that all of those young girls and women are going to have basically been traded into slavery by the very man that, for whatever reason, most of the American females had to vote for? Right. So I wonder how you feel about that.
Not only that, I think that if Biden was any kind of man at all, he would have taken responsibility for his catastrophic, misguided direction in taking everybody out of Afghanistan overnight.
Well, that's right. And one of the things that he mentioned right off the bat, like we knew he was gonna, he's talking about the deal that Trump made with the Taliban, that we would be out of there by May 1st, conditionally, if certain conditions were met, which they weren't met. But that being said, Trump's no longer in office. Trump's no longer the president. It's Biden's call. He gets to call the shots. Now, isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how of all of the deals that Donald Trump made while he was in office, The first thing, the first order of business for Joe Biden and his administration was to go in and undo as many of those deals as possible. Okay.
Right.
There were even some that were so controversial that Biden had to consult with constitutional attorneys to see if he even could overturn them, the deals that Donald Trump made. So you mean to tell me, you're trying to sell me as an American citizen that the only deal that they decided to abide by that was created by Donald Trump was this one? Because this would be the only one, the literally only one. The wall is gone. The pipeline is gone. That deal was killed, even though we approved it for Russia over in Ukraine or someplace, but we killed our own pipeline. Biden did that. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, you know, at some point it's like, Jesus Christ, how can this even be real?
He also just recently killed the action that Trump did on making insulin and insulin pens accessible to low-income people. He nixed that. So now the price of insulin's gone up from pennies on the dollar to like $280 a vial. That's really expensive, and a lot of people can't afford it.
Jesus Christ.
So he's killing people that way within our own country because a lot of people who can't afford it are dying from diabetes.
That's just unbelievable. You know, and the Democrats that come out and why they want to take care of everybody. It's like recently, I think there's somebody running for a governorship or something somewhere, and she wants to give, she doesn't want to give relief to landlords. She wants to make illegal immigrants top priority in her state. You understand that? I mean, she's taking an oath to protect her people, but before she even gets elected, the stupid bitch is dumb enough to get out there and actually say that, well, I'm going to tell you, illegal immigrants are top priority. A person like that needs to have their citizenship stripped and kicked out of our country. I'm sorry.
Exactly, because top priority should be the people in her state.
That's the only priority. I mean, there should be no other priority for that politician. Because they put their hand on a Bible and they swear an oath, and they all do it the same way. But to even say something like that, see, that's what's screwed up in this country. And again, I think that, well, let's just say things are going to change, and we're definitely going to have some big changes in this country real soon. And when that happens, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised. See, what the American female needs to understand at this point is that not only did the person that she most likely voted for just literally hand millions of women and young girls to a bunch of rapist savages. That just happened. You can turn on the news and watch it right now as we speak. That's happening.
Yep.
Okay. Not only did that just happen, but as bad as that is, and as horrible as the life forever. Now you have to understand, these women are now in servitude and slavery forever. We'll never go back in there again. Forget about it. There's no way we'll ever go back. The most we'd ever do in Afghanistan is do some bombing. We will never step foot on the ground in there again. Okay. So those women, and if we're not going to do it, no one else will. So those women, they don't have a chance. And let's assume the Chinese go over there and try to make a deal with them or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. You think the Chinese give a shit about the Afghan women? Of course not. No. They don't care about their own people. I mean, geez, they used to kill little girls. Abort little girls, for goodness sake. You know, it's just ridiculous that this had to happen. What Biden should have done, I think, that to save any kind of face at all for himself or even for our country, Biden should have come out and instead of talking about deals another prior president made, blah, 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 he should have just came out and said, look, this caught us by surprise. We were unprepared, and we're doing our best to make light of the situation, or to make a better of the situation. That's what he should have done. That's what a real leader would have done, instead of coming out there going, "It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault." Like I say, I used to have a girlfriend that would do that. And Biden, I swear to God, when he was doing his speech today, it was reminiscent of her. It really was. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Hey, Bobby Broadway, sir, how are you doing this evening? But oh my God! But to have the audacity, and then takes it, does the speech and does it badly, okay? Then walks off the stage without taking a single question and goes back. The son of a bitch actually had the balls to go back on vacation.
Right, Camp David.
What? Oh my God. I mean,
and then today, we were talking yesterday about how they were going to distract the American public with some other news story, right? So today, instead of broadcasting all day about Afghanistan, they were talking about the earthquake in Haiti.
Yeah.
They were directing people's attention to that.
Yep. Yep, that's true. But then again, even CNN, like I say, even CNN, MSNBC, they don't seem to be giving Trump a pass on, or not Trump, but Biden a pass on this. At least not yet. They probably will, but right now, with the optics being the way they are, it's really hard to put lipstick on that particular pig. When you see, did you see the video of that that Galaxy aircraft, that big, super big plane that we have that took off, and they were all hanging off the side of it? Do you see the ones that dropped?
Yeah, they were killing themselves to get on that plane. Yeah.
They're dropping from several thousand feet, and imagine what that ride must have been like at the end. I mean, trying to hang on to that plane like that. I'm surprised they hung on as long as they did, personally. But people are dying to get out of there, and they even had to close the airport for a time because it was all clogged and congested and all fucked up. And it's all fucked up because there was absolutely no exit strategy whatsoever. There was none.
Did you see the razor wire fence around the airport, and there were Taliban on the other side jeering the people that were running around on the runway?
Yeah, they're walking around making kill lists, and the raping and the killing is already going on at this point. That's already happening. There's just, like I say, we already got reports of the girls being sold off and things of that nature. And it's like, for Joe Biden to come out there and callously say that, basically it's the Afghans' fault. There's nothing more we can do. Blah, blah, blah. We can't stay there forever. Well, I bet those little girls wish that you hadn't said that, because right now they're going through God knows what. Now, again, this is supposed to be a champion of the women. This is supposed to be a guy who came out and this is a guy who came out and said, my vice president will be a woman of color and no one else. Think about that for a minute. Now imagine if you and I had a company, Tim and Tommy Inc. Okay. And we needed to hire an employee. So we put an ad out on Craigslist, the newspaper, blah, 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 whatever. We put an ad out to seeking an employee. Help wanted. We need a person that has this qualification, and this qualification, and can only be a white male.
Oh,
no one else need to apply but a white male. Okay. Now how is that shit going to fly?
It ain't.
But that's exactly what Joe Biden did right off the bat when he discriminated against everybody but colored females, because he said nobody else need apply for the job. Unless I'm missing something.
Right. And then the person that did get the job isn't truly African American either. I mean, she proclaims that she is, but she is not.
No, she's not. So, and she's absent, an airhead. And here's the thing. Here's what really got me about that. Of all of the women, though, that it could have been that he could have chosen, I do distinctly remember thinking, damn, he just picked the worst one of them all. Damn if he didn't do that.
Now, wasn't she against him during the debates?
Big time. Insulted him.
Against him.
Yeah.
Insulting him and putting him down and stuff. And then he turns around and picks her. I mean, come on. It's like my best friend is my enemy. Come on, that isn't right.
Yeah, well, at any rate, at this point, I mean, I just don't. How does the rest of the world see the United States? The news media like to get out there, and they like to, when Donald Trump was in office, they like to get out there and say, "Oh, well, he's embarrassing us around the world and all that." Well, okay, if that's the case, then every time Donald Trump went anywhere, they threw the biggest fucking party for him that they've ever thrown for an American. I mean, even the Saudis, the British. I mean, everybody did it up for his ass, even way more than Obama even. So,
Yeah, we have troops turning their backs on him when he shows up at functions.
Yeah.
We've got generals turning their backs. We've got, wasn't it Queen Elizabeth that was really upset with Biden, when he showed up in England recently, he showed up late, and protocol said that he was supposed to be there before the Queen arrived.
Let me look at something here. Give me a second here. I wanted to point out one thing right now. Whoops. God damn it. Let me pull it up here.
I'm just saying that the man is very disrespectful. He doesn't have people handling him well, because if they were handling him well, he would come across much better, but he is not.
Okay. The other thing at this point that I think we need to call for after what's going on here in Afghanistan, the Secretary of Defense needs to step down.
Oh, definitely.
That's got to go. Now, his name is Lloyd Austin III, and he's a black man. He's the first black man to ever hold that position. They're making a big deal about that. He needs to step down. It doesn't matter if he's black, white, a male, female, from Mars. He needs to step down.
Right.
And Biden better call for his resignation at this point. And you want to call it racist or whatever? Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you take your ass and your sister to Afghanistan and drop your sister off, and you tell us how racist shit is then, okay? Let me tell you what I've learned from this whole experience. And I really mean this. I've absolutely had it with the feminist cry baby bullshit in this country. I've had it. I mean, these women, the very women that are out there screaming to defund the police and I want my abortion and I'm a feminist and blah, blah, blah. Well, most of those women just voted for Joe Biden, which means that most of those women directly voted to enslave millions of Afghani women and girls and women. Okay, directly voted for that.
When they voted for Biden, they didn't even care about those Afghani women at all.
No, they still don't.
Crossed their mind. No, all they're thinking about is the free money and the free college tuition,
abortion,
the free abortion,
the abortion,
having sex with no responsibility. Come on.
I remember many years ago, and this has been a while back. I had this French girlfriend. She was from just outside of Marseille, France, and we were laying in bed one evening and just talking, and she said something very interesting to me. She said, "It must be difficult for you." She spoke perfect English. She said, "It must be difficult for you to close your eyes and sleep around an American woman." What do you mean? She goes, "Well, the only thing they really care about is murder and death." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, think about it. Their number one priority, their number one political issue is abortion, and that's it. They don't really, there is no second, there's nothing second to them. It's abortion, abortion, abortion. So how do you sleep next to someone with that mentality?" And I never thought of it that way, and damned if I didn't have an answer. Did not have an answer.
Tommy and I both agree that European women are much better than American women.
It's speaking multiple languages, mentally stable. They've always got a career. I mean, they're always interesting, beautiful, and frankly, great lovers. Fantastic, superb, as a matter of fact. So yeah, that's. I don't want to get into the American female thing tonight because I'll probably get kicked out of the planet. But
right, Killian says, "Do you all feel like something big is coming?" Yes.
Oh, definitely. Welcome, Killian. I appreciate you stopping by. This is just something that was just kind of an impromptu thing this evening. Yeah, Killian, I've written a book called Get Trump, the Patriotic War, and it's about an upcoming civil war. And, for whatever it's worth, whether you believe this or not, I happen to be the son of a world-class psychic. So I wrote this book in like a matter of 58 days, I think, Tim. And, and it's scary. What's about to happen here is scary.
Really good book too. Check it out at TommyHighway.com.
You really should check it out. It's I mean,
also
I put it this
available on Amazon.
Yeah. When I wrote this book, I'd had to step up and walk away from it because it was disturbing even me. And I kept thinking to myself, can a sane person write something like this? That's it's a great read. But back to Biden. I felt like today, Biden, at the very end, he says, okay, the buck stops with me. But he blamed everybody else before he said that. That was what was so interesting about it.
Yeah, we anticipated that, though, Tommy, last night. We anticipated he was going to blame Trump. And in fact, you came out one video before the live stream and said, 3, 2, 1, blame Trump. So you knew in advance.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to shift the blame to Trump because that way Biden doesn't stink. You know?
I couldn't believe Jake Tapper on CNN of all people. I mean, if you go out there and look at the recent CNN videos and watch that interview, he's interviewing one of Biden's spokespeople. I don't know the man's name, but I mean, the guy was absolutely full of shit all the way up to his eye sockets, and Jake Tapper wasn't having it. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was like, damn, did you just see the light or something, dude? Wow.
Did you see the Petraeus interview?
No, but I read an article about what he had to say. Yeah.
He was coming out and saying it was a catastrophic event, that it shouldn't happen that way, and that Biden made a big mistake.
Yeah. I can say that this is the biggest blunder, a political blunder that I've ever seen in my lifetime. I remember the fall of Saigon. That was a big thing. My family, they were always into the news. That's like the one thing as a family we did. We sat down and watched the news together. And I remember the fall of Saigon, but the difference between this is that, Saigon was about to be overrun by NVA. I mean, they were on the edge of town. They were about to overrun. And that's why we had to evacuate our people and get as many of those people that helped us out as we could. All right.
Right.
But that's not what happened this time. The Taliban were just sitting there being the Taliban, did the same thing that they've been forever. And as soon as they pop their head up, they get an airstrike. They're not doing anything. We were not under fire. We surrendered, dropped all our gear, and ran for nothing.
Right. And all those badass dudes out there that are military, whether they like the fact that they come home or not, the way they did it according to the orders of the administration was just disrespectful to everyone who sacrificed their lives, their limbs, and their time over in Afghanistan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The money, the $2 trillion that we put into Afghanistan as an investment, the money that everybody else put in, I'm talking about Europeans, the Asians, a lot of people had money in Afghanistan. All that's gone. All that's absolutely gone. Now, the Taliban have control of everything, the people, the land, and we were kind enough to leave them a modern-day military arsenal complete with an air force and everything. We just left it. I
really wonder if it wasn't by design.
God,
almost makes me think that it was, that they did it deliberately.
How can anybody be this stupid? How can Biden is a gaffe master? He does a lot of gaffes and all that, but how can something like this even happen? I mean, and don't get us wrong, folks. Tim and I are both of the opinion we want the hell out of Afghanistan too. Absolutely.
Sure,
yeah. But there's a way to do this, and you got to plan it. It takes years to draw down a force that's been in place for 20 fucking years, and it's going to take more than 20 minutes to do that. Like we were saying last night, a couple year drawdown seems reasonable.
Right.
But
they didn't even have any plans. They just pulled them out immediately. I mean, what is up with that? I mean, I'm sure a lot of the soldiers were glad to get out of there because then they're out of harm's way. But the fact is, we left all those people that depended on us defenseless. So that's why all these people are getting killed now. And that's why people are jumping on that airplane, trying to get away, flying on top of the plane, trying to get away because they know if they don't, they're dead.
Bobby Broadway says, what it does is shows the world not to work with the USA because they will throw you under the plane wheel when we leave. Yeah. Well, yeah. And it's interesting.
Exactly it.
It's interesting you'd say that because there were reports yesterday that China sent messages to both Australia and to Taiwan that something to the effect of the Afghans thought that the Americans would help them too. So,
so now we're becoming alienated from all our allies.
Nobody trusts us now. I mean, if you're Australia, and Australia does not have much of a military, there's not that many Australians. Okay, there's not as many Australians as I thought there were. In fact, what is the population? I can tell you right now of Australia. 1 moment, please.
It's more territory rather than people.
There's only 25.36 million Australians as of 2019. 25.36 millions. Okay. So figure 27 million compared to the United States is 328 million people. So comparatively, there aren't that many Australians. All right. And not only that, they have a very small military. Really, I mean, it's a modern military, but it's very small. They have, for whatever reason, Australia has a lot of minerals. They have like a lot of gold mines and stuff like that. You see a lot of Australian gold on the market, but they don't put their money into the military. So if China ever wants to take Australia, Australia's toast unless we stand in their way, because nobody else will.
With this administration, we're not even going to go there.
I don't think so. And if I was Taiwan right now, if I was a Taiwanese person, I'd be shitting peach pits because, again, America just walked away from its biggest commitment that it's had for 20 years, and it just walked away overnight. That's the way it looks. Whether we did it literally overnight or not, that's the optics of it. Overnight.
Bobby Broadway said we can expect no local help in any future wars. Yep, that's pretty much the truth.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think we'll always get backed up if necessary, just because we're still the big dog. But you got to understand. But now our enemy, or now our friends are thinking along the lines of we need to change allegiances and alliances, make different alliances and things like that. It has ramifications of that are just unknown. I can't believe this happened.
Well, in a way I can, because of the caliber of our leader.
We got the wrong guy in office.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line. I don't think Joe Biden's calling the shots.
No.
The decision to just up and leave like that, I'm sorry, it feels like a female decision. It feels like a decision like that came from a female mind. I'm sorry to have to say it, but I'm saying it. It feels like somebody else made that decision. And Susan Rice.
Doesn't Joe Biden have to sign the final order?
Sure he does, but he's just going to sign whatever they stick in front of him.
Yeah,
so it doesn't matter.
Confused beyond reason.
We've already heard him admit at press conferences that I better not answer that question. I'll get in trouble. Get in trouble from who? You're the fucking president. In other words, get in trouble by his handlers, and he let that slip. But the Democrat people just go dirt. I didn't see it. Oh, I guess that didn't happen. I actually know somebody that I used to think was a very intelligent person in my life, and we got into the video where Joe Biden is talking about having that prosecutor fired in the Ukraine. And for those of you, for those of you, if you haven't seen that video, go take a look at that. He's not only is he admitting to the fact that he withheld money unless they fired that prosecutor that was investigating his son's company. Not only did he admit to doing it, but he bragged about doing it.
Yep.
And it's in 4K video, and the audio is absolutely could not be better. Perfect audio. And I mean, he lays it right out. And I actually know somebody that sees that and will play that off as something else, anything other than that. It's unreal how people are.
And not only that, Biden got away with it. So did his son. Big media and big tech push the rhetoric that we don't need to cover that.
Hunter Biden is not an artist. Hunter Biden is not known to be an artist. He has no formal art training. And the man is out there selling pieces of art for $500,000 a piece to secret buyers. And this is okay to a Democrat mind. This is just fucking fine. I mean, and imagine if Don Trump Jr. were to come out and try to sell his own personal stamp collection. They would have tried to indict the bastard. And we all know it. Bobby says, as far as translators go and smaller local help in foreign lands, yep, that's true. Oh, they're never going to trust us again. I just wonder if the 200,000 Afghan troops we trained just will become terrorists now, and we trained and gave them supplies. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
I mean, what if you can't beat them, and since they obviously figure they can't beat them, oh, they're damn sure going to join them. Absolutely. Free wives for everybody? Sure. Of course they will. I mean, I was looking at some of the hardware that these assholes are walking around with, and we're talking top of the line American equipment here, brand new.
Yeah.
I mean rifles that aren't even scuffed up. Okay, right. Rifles, and they're not even that. They just got them out of a crate somewhere. I mean,
and they
Jesus.
got loads of ammunition too.
Yeah, I mean, fuel. They no doubt got explosives, grenades, every kind of rifle we've got, including 50 caliber stuff, Humvees with 50 calibers on them, plenty of ammo. I mean, here you go. After 20 years, Joe Biden turned around and gave that country back, and the bastard actually had the nutsack to come out and say, "I'd do it again. I'm happy with my decision." I wonder if those little girls that are being gang raped right now feel the same way about that.
I kind of think that they want to kill him, to be honest.
This isn't the Bay of Pigs. The Bay of Pigs was bad. Now, that's before our time. But the Bay of Pigs was, I understand, a bad deal. But Jesus, this was Saigon again. There was a major attack. There was major military activity, and we had to go. I mean, we had to leave. Period. That was just. It wasn't a we wanted to.
It was more of an escape. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a total retreat. Okay, and then we just literally said, "Fuck it," we surrender and walked off the damn battlefield. Here's our stuff.
Especially Jesus. When we were in control.
Total, yeah.
And we had won over some of the people too. So, a lot of the people were believing in the U.S. military when we were there.
Sure.
And now I would say there's no belief at all. No.
The translators and all those people that worked for us. Hi there, Sandy White. It was just so embarrassing. Yes, ma'am, it was. But think about all the translators and the people that were known to have helped us. Okay. And people know who did that in their communities. People know other people and all that. Every one of those people is like, I was watching a guy that had a meltdown on CNN, I think today. He's some coalition for the exit of Afghanistan or whatever. But even he said, we want them out, but not like this. And what an embarrassment it was. And he goes on to say he was a soldier there and tells some stories about his Afghan translator saving his life. But if you're a translator or even a member of their family right now, you are screwed like a tied up dog. I mean, what do you do? What do you do at this point?
You are definitely, yeah.
Amazing. Just amazing.
Hi, Sandy White. Good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. This is a very disparaging subject, but we need to cover it because the media is glossing it over. I mean, they're blaming it on Trump. They're trying to find ways to blame it on Trump. Let's say that, okay? I don't think they're going to get away with it because there's so many media outlets right now that are recognizing that Biden is at fault.
Yeah.
And actually is a moron. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to come of this.
Jake Tapper from CNN. I mean, he literally came out and absolutely laid this on Biden. And like I say, if you haven't seen that video, it's really worth seeing. And it's absolutely just amazing that happened. But yeah, he laid into to this guy, one of Biden's reps. It is on Biden. You can't blame Trump because Trump's deal expired in May. Well, he's like, well, if we didn't get people out of there, we were going to be back at war with the Taliban. No, we wouldn't have been back at war with the Taliban. We've done the same thing. See, the Taliban do an offensive every year. Every year they do the same thing. They're like clockwork. Every military strategist that I've seen on either side of the aisle has said the same thing. All right. So all we got is, so when they pop up again, we just bomb the shit out of them again. They get back down for another year. That's how this works. We could have done that again. And that's what a lot of former military guys are saying. Why didn't we just do the same thing we always do? We just didn't need to drop our shit and leave. Excuse me.
But soldiers, believe it or not, are trained to follow orders, and they followed their orders to the letter and left. So it wasn't the soldiers' fault. It was the fault of the administration, and that's what everybody needs to know out there.
Yeah, I
So
absolutely agree.
if you voted for Biden, I'm telling you, you made a mistake.
Big time. And the problem is, and you talk to like they did an interesting thing on Fox News, I think the other day. They were interviewing college students about why they like Kamala Harris. Oh, we love her. We love her. Okay, why? What are her accomplishments? None of those college kids could name any because there aren't any, but they couldn't name a single one. They're just all they're doing. They're just weak-minded fools that are parroting what they've heard from someone else. In other words, a higher-ranking Democrat, like we talked about before.
Bobby Broadway says, I suspect my sister voted for Biden. Well, so did my sister, Bobby Broadway, and I've had issues with that the whole year. I'm telling you. But, because she's my sister, I have to deal with it.
Well, the fact of the matter and the bottom line is that if you're a female that voted for Joe Biden, then congratulations, you are directly a party to actually taking millions of American or millions of Afghan women and girls and giving them to a bunch of savages. You're akin to doing that if you voted for him. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to admit it to yourself or not, it doesn't matter. That's what happened there. I mean, you just can't put it any other way.
I can honestly say I think they're also a party to an ongoing possibility of genocide in that country.
Oh, there'll be ethnic cleansing and all that. You got to figure the homosexuals, the gay people, they're toast. They're all done. That'll be
the people. They're gone.
The very first people that will go will be the gays. That's just going to happen because that's what the Taliban did before.
And the elderly, they'll kill them too.
I don't know about the elderly so much, but they really, really hate homosexuals. They really hate gay people. Okay. There's all kinds of horror stories about gay people and what happened to them in Afghanistan. We've all heard those. We all heard those 20 years ago. That was another one of the reasons, frankly, to go in. Okay. But now that's going to happen and it's never going to stop. And that's the most important thing to realize here, because we're not going to go back in to Afghanistan. We're not going to be doing that. So the only thing we have is air power. And as we've seen time and time again, you can't win a war with air power. Okay. You just can't do it. You got to send in troops and we'll never do that again. Those women are screwed and there's nothing that they can do about it. And no one's coming to save them. That's sad.
Bobby Broadway says, saw a report of a girls' school last week and they were crying knowing they would be masked and the school closed and raped just last week.
Sure. That's exactly what's going to happen to them. And then he's got another one here. Funny how racism, gay rights are being pushed out, but we fund the terrorists and are bought by China and the two most racist, sexist groups in the world. Absolutely, that's the thing. And in China, and with their bots and stuff like that, they've used social media against our young people, against our weakest minds, to do just that. Everything is racist. If you notice how everything is racist, or it's sexist, or it's some other kind of ist or ism at this point, and it's always something like that. Like, and I'm gonna get on the women right here, okay? Like, what's her name? The woman that was in the Hunger Games movies, the Effie lady. What the hell was her name? She's the one that directed the latest Charlie's Angels movie. Okay, I can't think of her name right off the top of my head, but anyway, she played Effie in the Hunger Games movies. The movie sucked. Okay, the movie sucked. She made a non-action action movie. And along the way, every other scene was something about some kind of a social justice, whatever. Okay. It was some sort of, somebody's like that. It's all about social justice. And the movie tanked. The movie tanked because it was just not a good movie. I actually watched it. But what did she do? What did she do? Instead of coming out and say, next time I'll make a better movie, she blamed men. She blamed men because of sexism. Sexism is the reason that we didn't come out to see her movie. So that's like saying, okay, I'm a woman and I'm going to direct a movie and you have to come and see it, because if you don't come and see my movie, that means that you're a bad person. You're sexist. You see, and that's where we've allowed ourselves to go in society. And racism is the same way. It's the same way with, well, you and I recently had a bad experience with on another channel that we do, and when we actually had to part ways with someone because this person is a member of a particular group, this person attacked me and said and basically accused me of hating them because they're a member of a particular group, when the guy knew it wasn't true.
Yeah,
and it's
false.
like absolutely false, but he actually had the audacity because he's a member of a group. So his first instinct when someone disagreed with him, no matter why they did it, was to go run behind that group. And we're seeing more and more of that going on in this country, and it's ripping the fucking fabric of this country apart.
Right. We're losing the United States that we grew up with, at least for Tommy and I.
Absolutely.
So
look, this
that doesn't exist anymore.
I blame Barack Obama, and I'll tell you why I blame him, even though I voted for him the first time. He came out and when his whole platform was, I am going to unite America, even though at the time we were pretty well united. 9/11 was not long after or before that, rather, and all that. We were still pretty united. But what's the first thing that Obama does? He comes out and he says, okay, I'm going to unite the country. Now, while we're all here together, you're black, you're white, you're gay, you're straight, you're this, you're that. And he actually singled out everybody else. Okay. And it's really, and I remember thinking to myself, how the hell does a person, how do you unite a people when you continuously point out everybody's differences 24/7? That's not a way to unite someone. And that's one of the reasons that I got out of the Democratic Party. That was one of the big ones right there. Actually, I'm like, no, I'm too smart for that shit.
Something I was going to mention last night, but I forgot, was the Benghazi situation was the same type of situation as what just happened in Afghanistan. We left those people behind at the embassy. And when troops were sent to go rescue those people at the embassy, the administration turned a blind eye and called them back. They let those people die. And it's the same thing this administration's doing.
This could turn into a Benghazi situation at this point. They're not able to evacuate the people the way that they're wanting to evacuate them. And again, they actually had to close the airport for a while today to deal with it. Bobby Broadway says, we can't ban kids calling other kids fat, short, tall, skinny. The same is true about preference over sex and race. It's only a problem when violence occurs and self-defense and strong mind is the only way. Well, absolutely. And that's what we've done. We want to, for those of you, let's take critical race theory, for instance. I've read about this. I've read a lot about it and all that. Essentially what it's doing is it's poking the white people in the face and it's saying, you enslaved somebody, you enslaved somebody, you enslaved somebody. And that's all it is. It's designed to make white kids feel bad about their heritage. And that's what this is. And you've got these parents out there that are pushing this, that they want that. And the reason that they're pushing it is not because they want that to happen, I don't think. It's because they're dumbass Democrats that won't do any of their own research, and they're just taking whatever's fed to them by their Democrat masters, and that's just the way it is. That take it at face value.
The original slave owners weren't white. They were black.
Right.
They were black people, and they had slaves, and we freed them, in the Civil War. So what's up with that? A lot of the troops were white,
They all were white. That's the thing. There weren't very many black soldiers on either side. There were a few. Right. There were a division, I think, or something on the north, I think. But that was a white effort. That was a white man effort to free the slaves. And it wasn't just, there were other reasons that war happened, but that was the big one. That was the number one catalyst.
That was the big one, right?
Yeah.
The point is the white man's not given credit for that. Come on. Oh, we're the big slave masters. No, we're not. The original slave masters were black. Do your research. You will find that out.
Yeah.
So the original cause of slavery is not the white man. It is the black man.
It was black people selling their own people, literally.
Right.
It was.
And that continues today. So
But see, you can't.
Do your
If you
research, yeah.
but if you say that, then today that makes you a racist. That makes you an outcast.
I'm not a racist.
Right, but I'm just saying, in today's world, that makes you a racist, and you can lose your job for the statement that you just made right there, even though it's absolutely correct, it's factually true, it's historically correct. You could lose your job for making a statement like that. I mean,
Right. Wow.
Let's not get into racism right now. Let's get back to Grandpa Biden.
I understand.
Yeah. But anyway, this is just going to be like a quick one tonight, folks. We were just going to do a little jabbering, but this was ridiculous. This is absolutely, for Biden to come out there and not literally fall to his knees and basically beg for forgiveness is just that makes this travesty even worse. I personally believe that President Biden should resign for this. I believe that he should resign, and if he doesn't resign, then I believe that he should be forced to take that cognitive exam. I think that he should be forced to do that because he's obviously the decision that was made here was so asinine and so short-sighted. I mean, it was made by someone that does not have the instinct of foresight. Okay, does not possess that instinct. So that's why I'm wondering if the decision didn't come from Biden, it came from one of his handlers like Susan Rice. Because again, and I want to reiterate, there is a lack of foresight here. And the fact that we had no plan to deal with embassy staff and all of that. And Biden just a few weeks ago came out and said, and I quote, "You will not be seeing people airlifted off the roof of the embassy like Saigon. You will not be seeing that this time." Really? That's going to be one of the photos actually that goes down in historical records because there's a real good photo out there of a Chinook helicopter, no shit, landing on the American embassy. So, that goes out the window. What scares me about this whole thing is we've got another little bit more than 3 years. This guy or whoever in his cabinet is calling the shots. We've got another 3 years of this. I mean, how much more damage can be done? They're already wanting to reprogram our kids. They just handed Afghanistan to the Taliban. What's next?
You know what bothers me is when he is removed, and I do believe he's going to be removed. We're left with Kamala Harris, and that's not much better.
No, it's actually in many ways worse. But again, I don't believe either one of those two are calling the shots in Washington. I believe Susan Rice is behind most of the decisions that have been made. I believe that Susan Rice is probably behind this Afghanistan decision because it seems like something, let's just say, Susan Rice would come up with. I believe that's what's happening. I don't believe that Biden's in charge. Again, we've heard him say in press conferences, "I better not answer that question. I'll get in trouble. I'll be in trouble if I answer that." Talking about his handlers. It's, he's a puppet. Not even a good one.
Right. Bobby Broadway said, "I fear the report of Middle East people coming across the Mexican border in unseen numbers is a sign of a homeland Taliban attack is imminent."
We're probably going to have a big terrorist attack at this point. I mean, not only did all of our allies and all of our adversaries just see what we're all about as a nation, at least right now. They got a real good look at our ilk, if you will. All right. So they know that we're not going to back a lot of people up. Like if China wants to take Taiwan, I don't see us doing a damn thing about it. I see Taiwan falling. And then again, we have exactly the same problem.
And South Korea.
Well, not necessarily South Korea yet, but certainly Taiwan and Taiwan, and here's the thing about Taiwan. We just sold them our very best weapon systems, Aegis cruisers, best warplanes and everything else. And that shit's going to get seized by the Chinese. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Mark my words, that'll happen.
Yep. That will happen.
You can't, you can't win at this point. What we should have done, Bill Clinton made a big mistake with China. Bill Clinton basically gave China the ability to become what they are today. They always say that Bill Clinton opened up China. Well, he did. And now we're suffering. Back to Biden here, folks. At the end of the day, we need to start sending letters. We need to start sending emails. We need to demand that this man take that cognitive evaluation because they made Donald Trump do it. They made him do it, and he aced it. Biden needs to take that. an independent doctor in the whole 9 yards, because the decision that was made here is just not sane. It's not something that, I don't know. It's just not it's not something a rational person would have done. You just don't stomp your feet and just pull out of a war of 20 years overnight. It's just not done like that.
Right.
Tim, did I lose? Still
no,
there?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm still here.
Anyway, I'm thinking about wrapping it up. Just wanted to come on and say hello to everybody, and thanks for everybody for coming out. We really appreciate that. We'll probably do some more of these as time goes on. We're even possibly talking about doing a weekly show here on the channel, but we'll see. It's just something that's up in the air right now. As many of you know, we're personalities on another channel, so it's absolutely unrelated to this one in its subject matter.
Yeah, we're totally different on that channel. Exactly.
So I invited my best friend Tim on tonight because when it comes to pulling out early, I figured there's nobody better to ask about this. Thank you very much. You didn't catch that? You didn't catch that, Tim?
I heard you, Brad.
I'm sorry. I'm a terrible host. Anyway, thanks for coming out, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Have a great evening.